If you're wanting to take your work to the next level, you really do need an education from the masters. I've catalogued some of the best work from the National Gallery of Victoria and the State Library. It's only a small selection of their work, so let's take a look. This first painting was created by Leon Pole, not really a super well-known artist in Australian history, and interestingly, this painting I've actually seen but more in reproduction in books. He was one of the younger artists that joined the Heidelberg School, and it has that magnificent afternoon light that really Streeton made famous. And he's quite a few years younger, so he was highly influenced. But I think it's the figurative work that really makes it stand out, that it really is a masterwork. The next one is Charles Conder, very good friend of Streeton. He was a year younger, but he was really the great compositional influence, I think, on the whole Heidelberg School. He was a real natural artist when it came to the composition design. He was highly influenced by the Japanese lino prints, which were normally in a vertical format. And this painting I've always loved, the light, the colour, and he really was almost, if he was a musician, he would be a jazz musician. He was just riffing off with shapes here and things there, but it all coalesced and worked so beautifully together. And I think he was just an interesting painter, but sadly did die at a slightly younger age after returning to England, but became quite famous and friends with Oscar Wilde and did some lovely work on fans on silk. The next painting is by Tom Roberts, and I do love his saying, "Paint what you love and love what you paint." This really is a masterpiece, I believe, of Australian art. You really almost could take it in thirds or even quarters and know that there's a great area of painting. It just doesn't let you down. Probably the one little area that I think it's quite saturated in that reddish colour, reddish brown. It really was a tour de force and a real triumph for Australian art. And I think that really raised the bar and put the level up quite a bit higher so that every artist around this group of painters in this era had to really sort of reach higher. And the genius of Streeton, even though this one was painted in about 1907, 1908, he did bring the light, the colour, the brushwork. He was really sort of out on his own. I think up there with Monet, Sargent, for that landscape brilliance that he would get in his scene. And this one being of the Sydney Harbour, he did do a small little study on his return to Australia after about 18 years of painting and living in Europe. This was kind of a brief sojourn in Australia to, I think, get back in contact with that light. It's a masterwork, one that, boy, any artist would have loved to have had on their resume. This is a really interesting one. Davies. Moonrise, I believe, almost a solitary, simplified scene where when you come up close and have a look at the brushwork, there's really nothing to it other than the moon, those colours in the low part of the sky. It's actually one of my father's favourite paintings as well, so I am sentimentally attached to this painting also. But just an incredible mood, and really needs to be seen to be believed, I think. So that really is what I identified with and really was moved by. This is another major work. McCubbin was the same age or very similar age to Tom Roberts. It's called The Pioneer, and it really does catalogue the early ascension of white Australia coming onto the landscape. So it starts out with them finding the spot and then having the settlement, and then the sad ending of, I believe, the wife passing. But the city coming into the background, more modern life, the late 1880s, 1890s, really emerging into the Australian landscape. Charles Wheeler, a name that I've known for a while, but never really got the chance to see a lot of his work. I really do love this piece, and I think the figurative nature to it, just the quality of the figures, kind of unusual with how much top part of the sky that he did leave in the composition, but I think the use of colour and the use of the figures and the nature and the power of the figures really did make this painting work. With the next one by John Longstaff, another amazing painter that probably didn't get the adoration, the limelight, as did a lot of the other painters, but this was another great painting from him, a figure laying down, of quite a sensitive painting, I think, and sensitive colourings. It was really quite common for the age of that tonal approach, was to more go for a soft tonal colouring, but just the figurative so strong. And it really did show off just how brilliant the figurative work was in the 1880s, 90s, right up until the 1930s. Roberts, Harold Septimus Powers, they really did bring the animals, the figures really to Australian attention. And of course, the genius of the youth of Hugh Ramsay sadly didn't get as much time as he would have liked, but boy, what a whiz kid. Would have rivaled the masters of Zorn, Soroya, Sargent, if he only had another 20 years to really show his worth. And this was a lovely painting for its combination of colour and almost lack of light as well. Similar to the Longstaff, I think it really does bring it full to the sensitivity of colour as well. I think it's really sort of what I took from this guy and this painting. Herbert Rose. I didn't really know a lot about this artist's work, but the background, the domed buildings, the foreground is quite empty, and quite deliberately I left barren because that mid-distance really does have quite a few figures, and oh boy, you have to really truly see those buildings just to see the reflected light, the light on them. It's taken my understanding of how to paint a building with reflected light from the sky to another level. That really was well worth just the lesson in itself. So definitely try and get to see this painting. So now we move on to the State Library of Victoria. Clarice Beckett, a misty modern but a truly sensitive painter, not recognised at all in her time. I believe there was like 45 to 50 paintings stacked under a bed that her sister found after her passing. But someone I did come on a little later, but I really do love her work for the sensitivity. Sometimes got a little awkward with her compositions, but I think that was the era, was to push the envelope. One of my absolute favourite artists, and is gaining more ground with his knowledge and his name with a new book out, William Beckwith McGuinness, or W.B. McGuinness. He was a brilliant portrait painter, one of the rare painters to win our Archibald Prize 6 times, or might have even been 7 times. So just his portraiture work is sensational, but I really do love his landscapes as well. Some of the simple little landscapes might be just some cows. Sometimes he did quite big paintings of the landscape, but still super work. And I could highly recommend his book. So his work is magnificent and has been a true inspiration to me, along with Streeton and a lot of the great landscape painters. With me getting into figurative work, that's why it's great for me personally to touch base, to really reignite that artistic flame for the figure and for portraiture. And the last one is Alice Bale. There is an award named after Alice Bale, and I have seen a couple of works up at the Castlemaine Regional Gallery, but she is a name that I've known, but I haven't got to see much of her work, but she truly was a brilliant painter and really should have a higher standing in Australian art, and I believe in world art. She really does round off a super selection that I hope you really enjoy this. I've had a great joy in finding a couple of new paintings and a couple of new artists. So I really hopefully you enjoyed this collection and can really sort of lift your work now to that next level and really take it to another place. I hope you enjoyed it. All the best. Bye for now.